Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Helena.
And for this episode, we watched Shakespeare-Re-Told, Macbeth.
Otherwise known as MacChef.
MacChef, as
Otherwise known as Macbeth Kitchen Nightmares.
or as if you read it properly, Shakespeare-Re-Told, Macbeth.
Retold.
Helena, why did you make us watch this piece of shit?
What the fuck?
Oh man, I enjoyed it.
It's not going as far as it's not a piece of shit. It's got quite good actors in. But
In a piece of shit.
I watched this at school, so following on.
I can see why you hated your English teacher then.
Yeah, I can't remember which teacher we watched this with, but I think it must have been the dumb one, because that's when we did Macbeth.
Yeah. I really hope she doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, this is a callback.
last episode. Okay, so
Miss. I think she was a miss and she's got married, so I can't even remember her name.
So we recorded.
Yeah, you had that little impact on me, Miss.
We recorded Holes first when we were in this recording session.
Are we releasing Holes first? We should.
Yeah,
probably. In that, if you don't remember, Hannah was like kind of hostile towards this teacher, but like you came in with this one swinging of just being like dumb bitch, terrible teacher. You've gone full hostile.
Yeah, we didn't get on.
I imagine she probably thinks the same about you.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any love lost between us. But anyway, she made us watch this film.
It's a TV episode. There were four. There's like 4 episodes of this altogether, apparently.
But it's not really TV. Well, it is TV actors, but it's also James McAvoy as Macbeth.
But it was James McAvoy in I think this because this was also 2005, so I think this was before Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, he wasn't like famous.
Yeah.
He wasn't like big Hollywood famous like he is now. Which, by the way, is still hot in this.
He is, and there's a Shakespeare scene. It's all Shakespeare. There's a
Shakespeare scene.
There's a topless scene in this, and I was just like, "Hey, you're welcome, Mikey."
Yeah.
But it opens with a scene that I'm really sorry about, Mikey. I'd forgotten this, but it's the story of Macbeth, but it's set modern day, and it's about a restaurant rather than Scotland. And instead of the 3 witches, you have the Hubble Bubble Boil and Trouble ladies.
Yeah.
You have 3 bin men,
which
they
great,
are just eating sandwiches in the most disgusting way.
Yeah, the first shot of this is of a reasonable amount of seagulls. Like, you might think it's too many, it's not. Do you know what is too much, though? Because once we get past the bin men, James McAvoy is drinking far too much milk. Like in one go, he like drinks like almost a quarter of like one of those glass milk bottles. That's too much milk.
No, that's a fine amount of milk for a strong growing lad such as James McAvoy.
Yeah, he's got to keep up his bone density.
Yeah. I like the bin man. I like the sort of.
I think
idea
it's a fun way of doing
men.
the witches as these sort of vague, like these prophetic bin men that are just sort of because they know everything because they know everyone's rubbish. They know all the bad stuff about because they know what everyone throws away. They know everything. It's like,
I really like that idea, that like kind of concept that they're like, oh yeah, we know everything because no matter how rich or poor you are, your trash ends up in the same place. And that is a surprisingly like deep notion.
Profound.
Yeah. It's a surprisingly profound notion from what is essentially a BBC attempt to try and get teenagers to learn Shakespeare.
And there is a lot of Shakespeare in this as well. It's not just obviously the dialogue it's not fully iambic pentameter or anything like that. It's not fully.
This isn't Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet where they just kind of like use all the same dialogue and the same like everything, just put it mundane. No, they actually like have rewritten it in like modern dialogue.
And bits of it I thought were quite funny.
Yeah.
There was one really funny line. We'll get to that.
Was it when it ended?
No, it was when the little kid goes, "What's a divorce?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best bit.
So, so it's Macbeth set in a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, they've just been awarded their 3rd Michelin star.
Yeah.
3's a really weird thing to rate things out of, though, right? Like, come on.
It's not. I don't think it's out of
First,
3.
second, third.
I don't think it's out of 3. I think it is like you get awarded them, and you get awarded them and get them taken away, but no one no one has ever done enough to get 4.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like
There's not
limited
been a 4-star.
to 3.
Yeah.
I just
Michelin
think
are probably prepared to do that.
Yeah. Because it's a crazy high standard to get 1.
To be a Michelin star restaurant is enough.
Because it's not just about how good your food is. It's about how good your food is, how good you are, how good the restaurant is as a whole, like how good the front of house are, how good the waiters are, and how good your head chef is.
Yeah.
And how good your the theory behind your menu is. Like, it's really fucking difficult to get.
Yeah, and James McAvoy is a very good head chef. He's very good at dismantling that pig's head.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's a very good chef, but his dad gets all the credit.
The owner of the restaurant.
The owner.
And then
I think
brother
is. Yeah.
I think his brother's set to inherit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As his brother's set to inherit it, but his brother, all he does is the front of house.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any cooking, but he takes credit for it.
Yeah, because I think it's in a hotel.
No,
it's like a guest house. It's got a few rooms upstairs, but it's
mainly a restaurant.
Because then, the guy that actually owns the hotel owns it, takes all the credit for it when he's the actual head chef, and he's too busy to come out and greet the customers because he's too busy cooking things.
He doesn't necessarily care.
No.
Like, again, because it's Macbeth. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care that he's not getting the credit. He's like, it doesn't matter.
He's like, I get to cook great food. That's what's important to me. I get to do basically what I want in the kitchen, and it's hard work, but I love it.
Yeah, and then
But
someone's
his
like,
wife,
"What if you killed him?"
Lady
was
Macbeth.
it his wife? Yes, it was his wife. Yeah,
Lady
Sorry.
Macbeth.
Not
okay,
Lady...
I just want to pause here. Dan, did you study Macbeth at school?
No.
Are you familiar with Macbeth the story?
Partly. I
Outside
watched most of this expecting Hamlet, to be fair.
No, I see where you've gone wrong.
Did the fact that his name's Macbeth not give it away, or the title of the?
No, I forgot
ShakespeaRe-Told.
what happens in each one. And
Did you not think that Hamlet might turn up slightly earlier?
No, not the names, but like the
Macbeth
vague
Kitchen
plot of
Nightmare.
Hamlet. I thought is what would happen.
So what? Please
this.
tell me what's the plot of Hamlet?
The Lion King,
You're gonna have to be more specific.
where he's gonna inherit. Basically, he's gonna inherit this thing, but the uncle kills the dad and then pretends to have him killed or something. I don't know. It was hard to follow along.
Yeah, close enough. But you're not familiar with the story of Macbeth?
Not really, no.
Okay, so fair enough.
I
Some
feel
of this
like-
movie will have been lost on you.
Yeah, so what I can tell from this movie, from this very badly shot close-up, hard-to-watch movie...
Hey, that's just the style of
In
the
grey.
mid-2000s.
It's shot in grey.
Yeah, there was one scene where they were outside, and I was like, fucking hell, I missed outside. But he essentially kills the owner of the restaurant because he wants to then own the restaurant and get credit, but then he keeps going mad and keeps killing other people, and then he dies and everyone else dies, and it's a tragedy.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, the original Macbeth was also set in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one bit they didn't change. Actually.
Yeah, it's strange. Every other adaptation of Macbeth changes that.
Yeah.
To where he's Lord King, something important. Lord Macbeth?
Yeah, he's probably a king. Yeah, it's the Scottish play, right?
King Macbeth. Yeah.
It is the Scottish play.
Which they have an amazing reference to be fair, where
James
That's one of my
McAvoy's Scottish.
the new guy says, "Oh, what are you, Gordon Ramsay?" And everyone goes, "Oh, don't say that. Not in here. You call him the Scottish chef."
It's bad luck to say Gordon Ramsay in a... See, I know that. I know it's bad luck to say Macbeth in a theatre.
You call it the Scottish.
Scottish
But I
play.
like that. I like that, like the Scottish. I also like James McAvoy said he's barely Scottish, which I feel was just something James McAvoy couldn't help.
Yeah, that could have been improvised.
Like they kept telling him to not say it, and he was like, "I just couldn't."
Because I've seen James McAvoy, primarily with an English accent. It is quite, it's funny to remember he's actually Scottish.
Yeah.
Every now and then, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's like David Tennant. Every now and then you get reminded that that's not his accent.
Oh, that's like reminds me of, remember that Doctor Who episode where they go to Scotland and like Rose is like, your Scottish accent is shit.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's great.
And he's like,
Yeah, I much prefer the other movie where James McAvoy is a Scottish guy having a breakdown, which is Filth, the one by Irvine Welsh.
Yeah.
That one was better.
So MacChef.
But anyway.
So basically, Macbeth is his flaw is he goes along with his wife wants the success and the recognition. He's not bothered, but he wants her to have what she wants. So he kind of goes along with it, even though he's quite unwilling. Because she's very, very strong. Very strong-willed, very determined at the start.
And he also doesn't sleep. Like, he just never sleeps. And I'm like, it's fucking 3 a.m. Close the restaurant.
Honestly, that's just normal chef stuff.
Yeah, that's just...
Like, I've known a couple chefs, they're just like that. Honestly, they're just kind of like that.
What it sort of represents is that they're both actually quite fragile people.
Yeah.
They don't know it necessarily, but they are towing the line with their sanity at all times, through the lack of sleep, through the stress of running a restaurant,
through drinking too much milk, through almost getting put in the bin by the bin men.
Yep.
But essentially, through really bad close-up camera angles and greyness. Through not knowing how to get through the restaurant because you can't work out how anything's connected because they're all very obvious different sets with different bits of curtain up.
Yeah. The BBC didn't have much money at this point to throw out stuff like this. I like. Well, he goes. So the bin men tell Macbeth. I said McAvoy's character.
Joe.
Macbeth.
His name is Joe.
His name is
Joe
Macbeth.
Macbeth.
He's the titular Macbeth.
It is funny how they didn't change the name.
Yeah.
Also, there's a bit where like the rat catcher guy that comes in references Shakespeare, which means that Macbeth exists in this universe, which means does he not know that he's doing the exact actions of his namesake?
No, maybe he didn't.
Clearly, as you've already shown, not everyone studied Macbeth at school.
No, maybe he thought it was Hamlet.
He was like, but this isn't Hamlet.
So his brother's set to inherit the restaurant, and basically history was going to repeat itself. His dad said something like, "If I died today, you'd inherit the restaurant."
Yeah.
And Macbeth's wife is like, "Huh." You don't say. So she bumps him off.
Well,
he bumps.
He gets someone else to do it.
He goes in.
There's the second one.
He goes in to stab him in the middle of the night while there's some about 5 football hooligans screaming outside in what's supposed to be a big crowd, but they're clearly in the middle of nowhere. And so he goes in. And then he comes back out and he's like, I stabbed him, but because he cut his hand, he thinks he's got blood on the knife. And so they throw it away and get a different knife and she stabs him again.
Yep.
So,
apparently.
in the original play, it's similar, where Macbeth does it, but it's his wife that has to do the cover-up.
Which they cover up by blaming some foreign workers, which is pretty shit.
Yeah, I think in the they have a scapegoat in the play as well, where it's like, oh, it wasn't me, it was this guy. But the idea being, it's the same sort of thing. Like Macbeth at the time, whilst he wasn't a king, he was noble, so his word against someone else's of a lower class would have swung. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sets in motion, this first murder sets in motion, okay, well, we've done one, but okay, now we're getting this Michelin star. We know that the front of house dude, he's going to have a big party. He's going to get roaringly drunk. Let's bin him off.
Yeah, he might know that we think he might know, so let's kill him. Do you know who else we should kill? We should kill Thorin from The Hobbit. We should kill him, but accidentally kill his family.
There are 5 actors in England.
Yes. There's the guy from Wanted.
Yep.
Thorin Oakenshield from The Hobbit.
So
there's that one bin man I recognised.
Yeah. This is where Macbeth gets I can't remember much of Macbeth or this film, if I'm honest. I was mainly focused on calling it MacChef and working out like Macbeth Kitchen Nightmares and stuff like that. Which led me on to what I want an episode. I want Gordon Ramsay to go on a rant in Shakespearean wise. I want him to be like, "Where's the fucking sonnet?" That's what I wanted from this film. Didn't happen. So Macbeth get a friend, one of the other workers, to kill. Right?
Yeah, kill this guy while he's out on a bike ride with his son in the middle of a forest.
No, the first one is he has to kill the front of house brother.
Yeah.
And he does that. So after they have the celebration where he gets really, really drunk, they kill him. And then after that, he gets he pays off this guy to go and kill Banquo, yeah, so that he's then gone. So they get a new front of house guy comes in. And he is Macduff. At this point, Macbeth is kind of obsessed with what the bin men have said, how he's going to be king, or like nothing can harm him. Like he's unstoppable. They're like, until pigs fly, you can't be harmed.
Yeah,
like you can't be stopped until pigs fly.
Don't
in Macbeth, it's until the trees grow legs and march up the hill.
Yeah, doesn't he also? Don't they also tell him that the other members are trying to take over as well? Isn't that what the Ben men say?
Well, what they say is you'll both get what you want, but he'll get what he wants more. Or his sons will get what he wants. In the play, it's like Macbeth. You could be king, but your Banquo's descendants will be king. So at this point, they've obviously done a couple pretty serious murders. And it's really starting to get to them. They're both becoming really paranoid, really easily spooked, irrational, angry, really paranoid. They start lashing out. Macbeth is handling it. At first, he's worse than Lady Macbeth. Not Lady Macbeth, Mrs. Macbeth, I guess.
Yeah, she's kind of fine with it. She's kind of like, you're an idiot.
But it's starting it's starting to slip with her as well, where she's starting to feel worse and more anxious, more and more paranoid, more and more. Yeah, just she's not with it anymore.
Yeah, she starts telling random people about how they had a baby that was like really premature and died. Joe, some guy comes in and he's like, "Oh, this guy says that the lamb wasn't cooked right," and so he just comes out and attacks him.
Yeah.
Which that's just normal chef stuff. That's got
that's how chefs work.
This is normal stuff.
That was a documentary, actually.
Yeah,
that is also a scene basically from. So he sees Macbeth. Doesn't he see across the room? He sees the ghost of Banquo.
He just keeps seeing the ghosts of everyone.
Yeah, around.
Yeah. So he sort of launches at him, and then his wife's left to kind of calm him down.
Yeah. Throughout the film, there's like reference to the hand washing scene, which is like one of the more famous things from Macbeth.
Yeah, out damn spot.
Yeah. And it's also the filmmaker's worst nightmare, because it is, how do you make this not look stupid?
Yeah.
Because it's fine on stage, it's very hard to make it not look dumb. Whereas it's like, my hands are covered in blood.
Just keep cutting to people washing their hands.
Yeah, well, it's the famous scene of like, they can't get blood off their hands. They like literally can't wash the blood off their hands. Which is like really cool in a scene where she's showering and it's like the water turns red.
Yeah. And it's the same, like he's chugging milk, as he is wont to do, and several times in this movie. But it's he looks in the mirror and he looks at his hands and he's just drunk loads of blood. Yeah. And then when he looks in, like obviously he starts and freaks out, and then someone's like, "Are you all right?" And then he's like,
milk high,
and then he looks
drunk.
in the mirror and obviously it's just milk.
I'm milk drunk.
Over milked.
Bad. Too much calcium. I do like the hair washing scene is really funny, because that just reminded me of when I used to dye my hair red.
Yeah, there's still bits of floor in my parents' bathroom that has red hair dye on it.
Yeah. Red hair dye don't come out of anything. Anything. Purple hair dye, you can look at it and it will fall out. You brush
it'll fade to red.
Yeah, you brush against purple hair dye and that shit's coming out. So they've killed both of them. We'll get back.
One guy's now onto them, and so they're like, "Oh, you need to kill this guy as well." So he like goes and shoots the bed while they're sleeping. But then a bit later, you find out that it was actually his wife and kids. And yeah, the wife and kids are the ones who, whenever he has to go out to work, the one kid's like, "Are you getting a divorce?" Because he's always at work, and then they're having a whole argument, and then the little kid's like, "What's a divorce?"
This is where it really starts to become a tragedy. It's a no hold bars, everyone's gonna die kind of tragedy.
Welcome to Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's not all
they've
fun and
died.
games.
And then the wife goes full on the Joker and is like putting on lipstick like all up her face, and then she jumps off the building.
Yeah. She's totally lost it at this point.
We also learn that he's got a TV show.
Yeah.
Like he's got a cooking show.
Oh yeah.
That everyone's celebrating, and like what listening to the cooking show, he's doing the whole like, oh yeah, and then you take this really expensive ingredient and like, this is how you do this to like a quail or whatever, of like really expensive stuff. And I was just thinking, so like this is like Jamie Oliver's £5 meals, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew that bit would wind you up when I saw it. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he's going to be upset.
Really expensive food. No, it was just funny. It was just like I couldn't stop thinking about that he was gonna go, and now for the £5 meal.
So then Macbeth is told that his wife's died, and he's like upset, but he's clearly not like upset enough. For the guy that tells him, he was like, what the fuck, like, aren't you upset? And then he's like, of course I'm upset, it's my wife, but it's like he's so hollow.
But he
and...
just doesn't care. Yeah.
Again, like if you tell someone that and that is how they react, you don't then go, that's a bit weird. Like,
That was a bit weird.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no like right or wrong way to like
Yeah.
react to being told that your wife or husband or whatever has died.
No.
But
you just, like let them react how they react.
I mean, honestly, though, at this point, with the amount of people they've killed, there's not going to be anyone left to run the restaurant.
No.
well, yeah, that's kind of the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, they really haven't thought of this like very well.
And it's almost like he's now not a secure and trustworthy king / restaurant owner.
No, he's no longer a head chef. He is a dead chef. Yeah.
He's not a dead chef yet.
In the play,
sounds to me like the play is much better.
Macbeth is told that the play's excellent.
Of course. I mean, it's not hard to be better than this.
In the play, it's also no man of woman born can harm you. So Macbeth is like, well, fucking hell, I'm invincible then.
Yep.
Which they don't really do in this film.
No,
which is fine,
because it would have
because
been a
it's
weird thing
weird.
it would have been a weird thing to bring up.
Yeah.
And to be like,
so
man
Macduff in the play, Macduff is a child from cesarean section,
C-section,
which is
baby.
like just weird loophole, but sure. He's like I was from my mother's womb, untimely ripped, and then because they're having a fight there, and he's like, they're having the like climactic fight where Macduff basically the first sign that shit's going down in a way that Macbeth was not expecting is when Macduff's army hide in carved out trees and run up the hill.
Yeah.
Because the trees go up the hill, and he's like, oh, damn, because she said that was only bad things would happen to me if that happened, and it's just happened.
The trees
but
walking,
at least no man of women birth can harm me. And then Macduff's like, well,
Actually.
I was a cesarean, and then Macbeth's like, oh well, fuck me, I guess.
Whereas in this,
pigs will fly.
Pigs will fly because there's a police helicopter coming to get them. And so he's just like, oh my god,
so
pigs will fly. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the...
Yeah, they're not subtle about it. They're
No.
like, oh, pigs. They say, he says it like so many times. I'm like, yeah, we get it.
And then Thorin stabs him.
ShakespeaRe-Told said,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they said no mention of the. It would have been so weird if they just paused and went, but no man born of woman can kill me. What are you on about, Joe?
And then he's like, I'm a test tube baby. And they're like,
Actually.
fuck.
IVF, bitch.
That's the last line of the show.
They
It's just that
modernised
scene with
it.
the Witch King from Lord of the Rings.
They modernized it, but they didn't think that C-section still happened.
Yeah, well, that I am no man is very Macbeth
Yeah.
from Lord of the Rings. Like that's not a subtle reference either.
Wasn't that because Tolkien? I was reading somewhere. I think that scene in Lord of the Rings is like what Tolkien thought Shakespeare should have done.
Oh, what had Macduff be a lady?
Yeah. I swear I read somewhere that he, in like one of his lectures when he was talking about it, he thought that was just what Shakespeare was going to do. Cause
I mean, that says all you need to know about Tolkien as a writer, though, where he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go back and edit Shakespeare. I can do better.
100%. But I swear I remember, or like he was in like one of the letters to another author. He thought that was like
Well, actually,
something they
it's
should have
because the
done.
reason Shakespeare did that is because that's actually kind of a little bit about it's referencing some of the people that existed at the time. So Macduff actually did exist, as did Malcolm, King Malcolm, and the heir. Basically, when Shakespeare was writing this, the heirs of those two people, Macduff, like they were still nobility, and this was a good way of impressing them and making them feel good about themselves. And if you make the court feel good about themselves, you get that dollar. So a lot of these historical plays are written with like certain
People in
named
mind.
people doing good
Right for your
things or
audience.
coming out on top, and it's like doesn't necessarily mean it. Even though they're historical, doesn't always mean it's true. It just means that Shakespeare kind of wanted to flirt with them a bit.
Yeah, I've been watching Upstart Crow, and that is very, very good for that kind of thing. But
Are we gonna have Helena Shakespeare hour as well as Helena football hour?
well, I just like that.
I do really like Shakespeare. This is where you can tell that I actually do have a bit of a passion for literature.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come out in the films we watch a lot of the time.
What?
Excuse
Maybe
me.
it does.
You're saying that Southland Tales is not good literature?
Are you telling me Wanted isn't the height of literature? The
We
height
need
of
to watch another
storytelling.
episode of Scooby-Doo. Another 90-minute episode of Scooby-Doo.
Watch another episode of Shakespeare-Retold.
We could. I don't know
No,
if
we
the other's
shouldn't.
good. I never saw
We
them.
shouldn't. It's probably
Yeah,
not.
I'd rather not. This one wasn't good, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I disagree. I was really impressed with this. I thought it was going to be a bit shit because in my back of my mind I was like, did they make this for teenagers? Or did they just make this because the BBC was broke and needed something and they didn't have to pay for?
I mean, it kind of had that vibe.
It's shoestring budget
Yeah.
vibes, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's cool that the cast is like decent.
Again, we have 4 actors. We're gonna use them in everything.
Well, it's Thingy from Thingy. Fuck me,
Uh-huh.
that was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That guy
yeah,
from
no,
that
we all
TV show
know.
and that woman
I'm
from
glad
that
you-
other TV show.
I'm glad you cleared it up.
Yeah.
Thingy from Thingy.
Yeah.
We don't need it anymore. We know who you're talking about, Helena.
Oh, I'm glad you do.
Yeah.
It was maybe I was thinking of the audience. Keely Hawes.
Sure.
She's in Ashes to Ashes.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a load of TV actors and James McAvoy for some reason.
Line of Duty, obviously Bodyguard.
Yeah.
It's a Sin.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of TV.
You're looking at the IMDb page, aren't you?
Maybe.
You just have this like encyclopedic knowledge of
Yeah, no, I just
her
really like it.
filmography.
Oh, she was in Tomb Raider Underworld,
Wow.
the video game.
Yep.
She was
So-
Lara Croft's voice.
So yeah, it ends up. Spoiler alert for Macbeth.
Oh, she was also in Spooks. That's where I know her from the
Ah.
most.
Spoiler alert for Macbeth. They're all dead.
Oh yeah, everybody dies. It's a tragedy. So I'm okay. Well, have at it then.
What do you mean?
What are your scores?
I quite liked it. I mean, it's a Shakespeare play, and they never adapted amazingly.
So would you say this has aged well?
No,
No.
as in like visually, fuck no, it looks awful.
Yeah.
But I like that like cheap British TV grime where it's like still made on film. I
Like,
think at this point, TV was still made on film.
It would probably work for a different story, but I feel like they try and... Because this is just under an hour and a half long. They try and get through it all, and it's just... It's kind of difficult
it's
to tell what the
cheaply
fuck
made.
is going on half the time, because it's so
cheaply
quick.
made.
Yeah.
It's cheaply made, and they have to cut through it. Like they did what they did with it.
Yeah, the restaurant
like-
is a room with a few tables and a red curtain around it. And...
Yeah, that's moist restaurants that you go into.
Yeah.
So
it's just
is
grimy.
Peter
I like the
Moffat
grime.
related to Stephen Moffat?
No, I looked it up.
Okay.
No, they're not
Just
still
wondering.
related.
I just love that the writing credits on IMDb are Peter Moffat and William Shakespeare.
Yeah, you have to give him credit. Technically, you have to give him credit. He created the story.
Do you think this would have helped you understand
God,
Macbeth
no.
if you'd watched it while you were studying Macbeth at school?
Definitely
God,
not.
no, this film makes no sense.
I've learnt more about the story of Macbeth from you talking about it this last half an hour than watching this.
I mean, yeah, I could probably say the same about that with my English teacher as well. I mean, you talking about it for 2 minutes.
Oh
probably
my
taught
God.
the class more about Macbeth.
Helena,
than,
let it go. Let it go.
But I'm used to being good in school, and I don't like it when teachers don't like me.
Imagine we know what kind of kid you were. Everyone does now.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, no,
I
think
have friends now. Right, guys?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You going to come to my birthday party?
I think I'm busy.
You came to mine, so I guess I have to.
Ouch.
So out of 10, I think I'd give it a 6.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty generous, yeah.
What's funny about? Not even that. A 5. I mean, I like it.
Is it the more you think about it, the more you're like, I really don't want to watch this again ever?
I know I would not. I'd never watch this film again. But it's not a bad film. There's just no reason to watch it again.
It's just quite surreal. I think because it's such obviously it's such an insane story. When you remove the setting and the high stakes of it being literally to take over Scotland,
yeah,
it's like, why do you give that bigger shit about the restaurant?
I think but that's just chefs though. That is just chefs. They're just like that. They're just intense people. But I think it's gone down again. It's gone to 4.
Soon you might hit my score.
I think 4 episodes of Macbeth's Kitchen Nightmare. I'd watch the fuck out of that show. Could you imagine? He's murdered. He's head chef of a 3 Michelin restaurant. That's quite a big deal.
Oh yeah, you know that if you screw up the lamb, he will kill you.
But he's killed. The owner of the restaurant's killed, and his brother is killed, and his wife kills himself. Can you imagine that news story getting to on the BBC and them having to explain it? It'd be great. Could you imagine that news breaking to the world of being 3 Michelin star restaurant?
Yeah, it's almost if that story was told, someone would write it down and then make a play about it.
Yeah, it's lucky that they had the exact documentary about it on just before the news.
Yeah, they sit there and they go, someone's at home watching the news and they go, damn, sounds a lot like Hamlet.
Maybe we will have to do an episode of Helena's favourite Shakespeare's.
Shakespeare out. Do me and Dan ever get hours to talk about stuff that we like?
Yeah, we get the normal podcast.
No, I've done that. I did the episode on New Girl.
Oh, yeah.
I did that one episode of New Girl. That's fine. Yeah, I think 4 episodes of Macbeth's Kitchen Nightmares. I would watch Macbeth's Kitchen Nightmares. I'd watch him just insane. Just over
what about you, Dan, then? This sounds like it ticked absolutely 0 with your boxes.
This whole thing was a struggle.
Yeah.
Just, trying to find it for one.
Yeah, that actually was a question.
Yeah, the amount of effort that we put into finding this.
It was just the grimy look works for other shows and movies, but not really this.
I don't think the grimy look was deliberate.
No,
it was just bad lighting.
Yeah. Bad lighting, bad sets, bad acting for
any
some of
TV
them.
show, any British cheap TV show from back then. They all look like this.
This looked like it had a budget of 500 quid.
It probably did.
Yeah. So.
And they spent it all on helicopter sounds.
Exactly.
And that one pig head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just from the catering. It was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the acting was all right, but yeah, it was a tragedy that I had to watch this. So that's why I'm going to give this the one shade of grey that the movie was in.
Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad. I was pleasantly surprised because I was this was for kids. I watched this when I was a teenager. At the time, we just thought it was quite funny. And I think we were just glad to have a break from reading Shakespeare because I don't mind reading Shakespeare, but reading Shakespeare as a class where people have to take turns reading is a chore.
That's always the worst because you always have that one kid that's the dog.
Well, I can't fucking read. Yeah.
What does that word say? It says the.
You guys are terrible. Some people need more time to learn than others.
Look,
No,
I don't have any patience.
Helena, we know how you are. You can't bear a teacher not fully explaining something to you. We know how you are. Dan, I'm disappointed.
It was just frustrating because I'd always just I'd just sit there and read it all in my head. And I was like,
yeah,
at
but
the
then
end of the
then
page,
you'd be called to
they've done a
read on,
sentence.
you're lost, and then the teacher thinks you're not paying attention, and actually
Yeah.
you read ahead. And you're like,
Exactly.
no, miss, actually I'm smart.
You guys
I
had
wasn't even in like the
traumatic-
top set for English. Like I got a B. in
And yet
English
you were
literature.
sat there. You were sat there telling a
GCSE.
teacher they were wrong.
The first time I
Damn.
corrected a teacher was in year 7. And that was translating Latin on the Bayeux Tapestry. So, because he got it wrong. And like, I'm very familiar with the Bayeux Tapestry. Because why the fuck not? That's what all cool 11-year-olds know.
We need an
So-
alarm whenever Helena's posh comes up. We didn't need it.
I've seen the Bayeux Tapestry. It's in Bayeux.
Wow.
But it was made in Canterbury.
No one asked any follow-up
No follow-up
questions.
questions. I'm going to give this, oh god, I don't know. Yeah, 4 cute topless McAvoy scenes out of 10. That was easily my favourite bit, was when he took his top
Mhm.
off.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty sexy, and then he went crazy, and it was like,
That's still a little bit sexy.
And then he drank too much milk.
I didn't like the milk drinking.
Was the milk?
scenes.
Is this the one which the milk of human kindness is from, or is that another
No.
Shakespeare play?
No, I think he's just drinking milk.
Because
Oh.
someone says the milk of human kindness. in
It is.
this
It
sort of
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Too full of the milk of human kindness. There's
But literal
there
milk
are
in this.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This film takes a lot of the Shakespeare a little bit too literally.
Hmm.
There is.
What do you mean? It made it into chefs. Like, you can't take it that literally.
There's I didn't write them down or anything, but there is a lot of like direct quotes and lifting from the text.
In an adaptation? What? Sorry, you said that like it was a bad thing? Like you were like, they're stealing directly from Shakespeare.
Well, it's so for comparison, like The Taming of the Shrew has a couple of references to the Shakespearean text, or some other Shakespeare references, but it's not like the when the people say it, it's clear they're quoting. Whereas in this, like a lot of it's just sort of snuck in, but not very subtly.
That's fine.
I
It's
would
an
love
adaptation.
to find a way to revive Shakespeare and have him watch MacChef and see what he thinks.
He'll be like, what is this monitor? What is this magical light screen you put in front of me? Who's that wonderful looking man? Oh, he's shirtless now.
Oh yeah, he'd have had the hots for McAvoy, but who doesn't?
100%.
I bet I don't remember. I'm like weirdly, I don't remember the topless scene at all. But I bet that was not scandalous, but just very exciting for like us teenagers.
Oh, the giggle scene where everyone.
Because
sort
I
of-
remember this was around when, because obviously we didn't watch this when it came out, 2005. Like this was old, like whatever. I think we had it on video or DVD or something.
It was probably on VHS,
But it was this-
and you had that
this
big
was when-
TV wheel out.
Shortly after X-Men First Class came out, so everyone was riding the McAvoy train.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you got young shirtless James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Angry chef shirtless.
I'd visit his restaurant if you know what I mean.
Is that why you like him so much as Mr. Tumnus? Because he's never wearing a shirt, only a scarf.
I prefer the non-fawn version, you know, if I had to choose. The little beard tufty bits don't do a lot for me, nor do the horns. But, yeah, I'll take any version of McAvoy you're willing to give me, to be honest. I was going to say, I think I was going to say, 5 men shouting England really loudly for way too long.
They'd clearly
really
just come back
upset.
from a football match, Helena. Could you not tell?
England. Yeah, that's what we all chant, regardless of whose team, because they're all, they're English, so makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that some of us enjoyed it.
Everyone
I'm
believes
sorry,
it.
I won't make you watch anything else ever again. It's fine. You can take over the podcast. I'm clearly invalid. So.
Thanks.
It's
I've been
fine.
Dan.
I've been Michael.
And I've been Helena.
You can find this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at HiltonPod. That's at HILTMPod. We're on Discord as well, so you can tell us your favourite James McAvoy
I'm going to convince
moments.
Mikey to murder you so that we can
Well,
take over the
wait.
pod.
Wait until we find out what we're going to do with the Patreon money.
Nothing. The episode's over. No, what are we doing for Patreon?
We're going to open a restaurant.
Hell yeah.
And then, like, one of us is going to be in charge, one of us is going to be front of house, and one of us is going to be manipulating the other.
So who here can cook?
I'm all right, but
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's going
okay.
Not too bad, yeah.
to have to be you, Hannah, that's the Macbeth, the MacChef in this, because you're the only one that's married.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Well,
I mean,
you
is
need-
my husband getting involved?
Yeah,
well,
he's
you need the other
manipulating
half
you
to-
into
yeah,
killing us.
literally a key part of the story.
Oh, okay.
Of
So I
Macbeth.
didn't realise that Jim was getting involved in this Patreon.
It just
well.
has to be. Just has to be.
I don't know
this
if we can
one.
afford him.
Well, are you happy with a stand-in?
Yeah.
Welcome,
Cool.
Jom.
Budget Jim.
If we ever make enough money to do this from the Patreon, this will be the last thing we do. Just inherently.
Oh yeah, it doesn't end well for any of us, but we'll do it.